Friends, today I'll be talking on a very important subject, and that is Silsile Azeemya. That is a spiritual organization. When I was a child, like 13 or 14 years old, I got interest in spiritual aspects of life, and I wanted to know what is beyond body and mind, because body matter we study in physics or chemistry or biology, and then we study mind in psychology. So what is beyond mind? And then I discovered the science of parapsychology, and I got by chance a spiritual magazine called Ruhani Digest, the Spiritual Digest. And I used to read that digest each month from the first word to the last word. And I learned so many new concepts about spirituality and about parapsychology. So the things which go beyond mind, those are like maybe paranormal and parapsychological. So those things like telepathy, hypnotism, mesmerism, these things I discovered at that young age because of that digest. Telepathy, I used to practice telepathy. So, it was so much interesting for me. When I came to Islamabad from Swat, and my neighbors in Islamabad by chance were the people who were disciples or friends of spiritual organization called Azeemya. So I used to talk to them in what is Azeemya, and then he used to tell us the stories that they go to that organization and they talk to the spiritual guide, the spiritual teacher. And I was like astonished that who will be that spiritual teacher. So one day I was sitting in my office, and a man came, Kanwar Tariq, and he was a candidate for consul general of Paraguay. So I met him, and then he started talking about the same organization. So from my childhood to my neighbors and now a friend, Tariq, and then he introduced me to the same organization. So this was something spiritually going on. And then he one day invited me to attend the death anniversary of the founder of Silsile Azeemya, Kalandar Baba Aulia, on 27 January, his death anniversary day. So I was going to Karachi, and at airport, somebody asked me, "Are you from Swat?" I told him yes. Where from Swat? From Shadiri. I'm also from Shadiri. Oh, so who are you? I told him I'm son of Muhibullah Khan and my grandfather Mir Aslam Khan, and I introduced my family. Oh, but we are the same people because I'm your far cousin. I'm also like you, Karmani Khail, and I'm a Yusufzai Karmani Khail. So he was my far cousin, and he was Imran Yusufzai, who is a very, very important, officer in member in NHA, National Highway Authority in Peshawar these days. So I was astonished because I was, searching that man for a long, long time because I wanted to know my cousin who was the son of Mehtab Khan, who was a very, very famous engineer, who was my uncle. So I was so astonished. Another spiritual miracle. When I reached the convention center of the death anniversary of Kalandar Baba Aulia, I found my ex-boss there. He was also a guest, and Salman Bashir, who was foreign secretary of Pakistan. For me, all these things were like things which were going on very, very, impressive, and for me, surprising. I also delivered a speech, and then before that, I met Khwaja Shamsuddin Azimi, who is now the head of Silsile Azeemya. And, for me, he was like an angelic creature. He was, he's in a human being, but he seems to be like, angelic form, and the way he talks, and, the spirituality oozes out from his personality, from his face, the grace that he has. So I saw myself for the first time, the man that I was reading him for a long, long time. And I was so much inspired, and I was meeting him. I met him 2 times, and then I also became the friend. They called friend, not the other technical words. because Silsile Azeemya, I was, I knew that that is not a traditional spiritual kind of organization, but they mix science, modern approaches, knowledge, philosophy, and spirituality. Many people, they confuse spiritualism with spirituality. So they Silsile Azeemya, that is for spirituality, not for spiritualism. Spirituality is totally different from spiritualism. Spiritualism is the belief that the spirits have contact with the world. The people, when they die, so their soul become spirit, and that spirit then becomes in contact with the living beings, and they communicate, and even you can seek their guidance, their power, and their energy. That is a totally different thing. Some other time I will be talking on spirituality, spiritualism, soul, and all these aspects. So Silsile Azeemya is not about spiritualism mainly, that is about spirituality. And spirituality is when you go beyond your mind, and then you change your mind, your personality, and you get a kind of ascension. You go up from the physical needs, from the food and clothes and shelter and these physical biological needs, these physiological processes. You go beyond that, and then you get your spiritual growth. Your personality is totally changed. So you focus on spiritual matters, on soul, not on body only, not on mind, but you go beyond these things. For example, you don't have spiritual diseases, you don't have greed, you don't tell lie, you are an honest man, you are not corrupt, you are pure from inside, internal purification. Then your focus is on God, on realms, on areas, on aspects of life which has nothing to do with the material things, but you go beyond matter. So that is spirituality. So I was introduced to this great spiritual guru, spiritual teacher, Khwaja Shamsuddin Azim. And this he will be like completing 90 years. 90 years on 17 October, I think, yes, 17 October, he will be completing 90 years. So those people who want to see a living Sufi who is still alive and active, dynamic, and want to get that spiritual enlightenment and inspiration. So you have the opportunity to go to Karachi and meet this great Sufi. His son Waqar, Dr. Waqar, is also very active. And in that convention, it was not a kind of traditional urs, the death anniversary, not only ceremonies, but there were a lot of educational programs. There were so many educational those computerized programs, and the people, they were talking a lot of interaction, and computer screens and TV screens and multimedia, and gatherings and group tasks. And there were people from many countries of the world, not only from Pakistan, but from Central Asia, from Russia, from Europe, from so many countries, from Canada, from North America. So there were, so many people, and that was such a beautiful experience that I had. On 27 January, they organize each year this kind of activity. So, Kalandar Baba Aulia, who is the founder, who died in 1979, he wrote many books like Loho Qalam, which is really, full of spiritual knowledge. So that man was Kalandar. Kalandar is one of the stage in spirituality, that you go beyond the material aspects of life, and then you become you get the unity with God, and then you go beyond these worldly limitations, these mundane or worldly things. You become you reach to the climax. So he was a Kalandar, and he was Abdalul Haq. His name was Muhammad Azim, Sayyid Muhammad Azim Barkhia. He used to write. He was a journalist. When he was, he went to high school, then he went to Aligarh University, and then from his maternal uncle, Tajuddin, who was also a spiritual guide, his father wanted that he should continue the university or the modern education, but his uncle discovered that this man, Qalandar Baba Aulia, Muhammad Azeem, would be a great spiritual personality, and he himself selected the path of spirituality. So there is a great lesson for us that when we know that we like this field, we must go. Now millions of people, they know Qalandar Baba Aulia, and he is the source of guidance for so many human beings. So maybe he would be, if he would continue his other normal educations, he would not reach to that stage as he's these days. So he was, Abdalul Haq. This is a very, very great designation that which is given to these people. So what my today basic message that I want to give you, that if you want to see a Sufi which is alive, dynamic, and you want to understand spirituality, mysticism, which is not just a mystery, but he will explain to you in very, very simple words. If you want to, go to the spiritual world. So Silsile Azeemya, that is one of the important organization in Pakistan, and we need Sufism, we need spiritualism, spirituality. Spiritualism, we will discuss some other time, that is another aspect. Because, soul, when one dies, where the soul goes. So then we have spiritualism, that you can keep contact. And then we have spiritism. Spiritualism, spirituality, these are different things. Occultism, like occult sciences. There are, black magic. So these are things which are very, very interesting things. And these are, some people call it pseudosciences, which come in the category of parapsychology. So, with a modern touch, you understand spirituality, and you get both saluk, you get the process, and as well as the raptness, that you become like the ecstasy. You go through some processes, but those processes are more educational. In an educational way, group task, you understand the concept of spirituality. So if you want to discover your soul, your insight, your reality, your unconscious, your subconscious, and you want to understand your paranormal faculties, if you want to go beyond your body and you want to focus on your soul, so one of the best places that you can find, that is Silsile Azeemya. So my request is that please ask questions about spirituality, about soul in this discussion, and I will be giving the details of their website and other contact details. You can ask questions, and I will try to manage direct answers from Khwaja Shamsuddin, who is will be 90 years old, but still he's a great personality, and he's quite active. And I request him also that please remember me in his prayers. And I especially am thankful to Ashraf, who also, he's a very good organizer, and Tariq, who is my friend, Consul General of Paraguay in Islamabad, and Baba Jan, who is our spiritual guru, and Dr. Vakar, his son, who is the spirit behind what is going on. So we will continue these spiritual discussions in future also. Thank you.